Have you seen how fast gas prices rose last week? New reports reveal that fuel stockpiles have dropped globally, and the problem is likely to get even worse over the next few weeks and months as demand continues to outstrip supplies amid OPEC Plus production cuts. Americans are now paying the highest prices for a gallon of gas in at least 8 months, and according to industry experts, they should brace for even more pain at the pump in August, with refineries closing for maintenance and domestic supplies drying up in many states. From now on, filling up your tank will be far more expensive, and there are many reasons contributing to that. The months-long calm in gas prices is over. Now, a perfect storm has begun. Last week, prices at the pump jumped again overnight, and the outlook for the coming weeks and months doesn't bring any relief for American drivers. On Saturday, the national average price for a gallon of regular gasoline surged to $3.75, according to the American Automobile Association. That marked the biggest one-day increase in a year, and the highest average in about 8 months. The price of a gallon of gasoline is now 30 cents more expensive than in June, and that's still a timid uptick compared to experts' estimates of $5 per gallon by the fall. The shift is happening quickly. For instance, the more fuel-efficient premium gas has surged to nearly $4.50, also a 30-cent increase from June. California's average is the highest at $4.95 per gallon of regular gas. In counties like Mono, for example, located just outside Yosemite National Park, the price per gallon has skyrocketed to an eye-popping $6.05, figures by AAA show. Gas prices are on track to reach levels last seen during the inflation peak of 2022, says the association's spokesperson, Daniel Armbruster. Both domestic and international producers are slashing production, but demand remains strong. Increasing crude oil prices, decreasing gasoline inventories, and strong demand for fuel thanks to a busy summer travel season are forcing retail gas prices even higher, Armbruster highlighted. Oil prices are indeed the biggest contributor to fluctuations in fuel prices. In July, the cost of a barrel of crude oil went up by $1.10, climbing to a 3-month high last Thursday. Raw crude price increases add 24 cents per gallon to the price of gasoline and other refined products, the expert noted. And everything points to the beginning of an upward trend that'll stay with us for quite some time. Lower gasoline inventories are a result of the supply gap caused by production cuts introduced by OPEC Plus, an alliance of the world's major producers. This month, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies announced this month that they would reduce output even more after slashing production by 1.5 million barrels per day in May. On top of that, sanctions on major exporting countries, including Iran, Venezuela, and Russia, have also impacted the global supply of crude oil and helped to boost prices in recent weeks, as noted by Natasha Kaneva, JP Morgan's head of global commodities strategy, in a new report. AWA analyst Robert Sinclair also came forward last week to inform the public that so far this year, global markets have lost almost 4 billion barrels per day due to OPEC's decision. That represents 4% of the total daily production of crude oil. Nearly 4% of daily output being cut has led to increased crude and gasoline prices, despite less than robust summer demand in the U.S., Sinclair said. Saudi Arabia just warned that they're willing to tighten production even more to hit their goal of $100 per gallon of crude oil. Officials pledged to reduce output by a further 1 million barrels per day next month, the kingdom's harshest reduction in years. The move is expected to limit supplies until 2024 as the producer group seeks to boost flagging oil prices and regain supremacy in the global oil market. OPEC Plus pumps around 40% of the world's crude, meaning its policy decisions can have a major impact on fuel prices at home. It could be said the production-cut chickens have come home to roost, Sinclair told the Post. Exports also cut into our supply at home. We're exporting about 2 cargoes of gasoline, mostly from the Gulf Coast, for every cargo we import, the expert added. We are the supplier of choice for Latin America, which has no additional refining capacity coming up this year. Since late June, global oil prices have gained more than 16% and are heading for the longest rally since before the conflict between Russia and Ukraine upended energy markets. The price of Brent crude, the global benchmark, rose to $84 a barrel on Friday, up 3.9% in the past 7 days, while Brent crude futures were up this past month about 11% at $82.33 a barrel. The winning streak is longest since an 8-week rally ended in early February 2022. In the past 30 days, U.S. West Texas intermediate crude has climbed nearly 13% to $79.56. U.S. oil prices are also set for another 4% gain this week and have also chalked up their longest rally since April 2022. According to the International Energy Agency, global oil demand is expected to rise by 2.2 million barrels per day to a record 102 million this year. That means the world is set to face a supply gap of 1.8 million barrels per day or more. The effect of this imbalance between supply and demand is going to be disastrous for U.S. motorists. To make the situation even more complicated, rising temperatures are also partly responsible for the rise in gas prices. There are two main explanations for how high temperatures lead to increased cost of gas. One is that when people are using air conditioning to cool down, which increases demand and therefore increases the price of energy supplies. The other reason is that many oil refineries reduce production due to high heat because of safety reasons, which can cause inventories to go down while prices shoot up. The problematic combination is causing a lot of headaches for Americans who had hoped that the extremely high gas prices were a thing of the past. At this point, refinery utilization, which measures how much crude oil refineries are processing, is also down, which AEDA analysts ascribe to excessive heat that's been affecting 2/3 of the U.S. across 24 states this month. The association noted that a major refinery in New Jersey just went offline this weekend. The Bayway Refinery, a 150,000 barrel per day oil refinery owned by Phillips 66, is the largest gasoline-making unit in the Western Hemisphere and was already at low capacity for most of June and July due to unplanned repairs, according to Reuters. It was actually supposed to be at full capacity right now, they said. Domestically, oil supplies are constrained too, said Andy Gross, the national spokesperson for AAA. If oil prices stay high in the coming weeks and months, they could affect the next inflation reports. Gross explained that prices could also be affected as the U.S. enters peak hurricane season. According to the National Hurricane Center, most storm activity happens from mid-August through mid-October. Depending on storm trajectories, domestic production could be cut as offshore and Gulf Coast oil sites shut down. We're entering a dangerous period, Gross said. The major X factor is a hurricane hitting the oil infrastructure of the Gulf Coast. That could send prices soaring overnight, he said. And with water temperatures around Florida at 100 degrees, the possibility of the formation of a major storm is increased. If refiners in your region have lower or falling utilization rates, you're more likely to see gas prices rise, added Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis of GasBuddy, a platform that helps people find cheap gas. Tom Cloza, the global head of energy analysis at Oil Price Information Service, revealed that refiners in Texas, Louisiana, Tennessee, and some other states are already struggling to run anywhere near maximum rates. Petroleum engineers can tell you when ambient temperatures get to the 100-degree neighborhood. It's difficult to run at maximum levels, he emphasized. Nationwide refinery utilization dropped by 0.9 percentage points from last week to 93.6%. Gasoline production fell to 9.5 million barrels per day, and distillate fuel production dropped to 4.8 million barrels per day last week. West Coast refineries posted the largest decline, 2.4% to 90.9%, followed by the Gulf Coast's 1.5% decrease to 93.3%, and the Midwest slid 1.1% to 97.7%, oil price data shows. These percentages show how much of a region's overall capacity was used to refine oil, DeHaan explained. It's important to note these percentages because the lower the utilization percentage, the lower output, which has a direct impact on local gasoline prices. As for the next couple of weeks, the experts noted that it's possible Americans could be in for another 25-cent increase. From now on, gasoline price increases are expected to happen faster, and lower supplies indicate that there's no relief in sight, at least until the end of 2023. By the winter, the scenario could be far more chaotic as supply systems face increased vulnerability. Just as it happened before, we're woefully unprepared for any sort of emergency or supply disruptions, and probably just a single extreme weather event away from seeing gas stations experience massive outages again. At this point, we can only hope for the best, but prepare for the worst, because this is shaping up to be the worst oil crisis of modern times.